Hi kiddos. Today I was going to do a little practice with money and thinking about, instead of just counting money to see how much was in a pile, thinking about if I were trying to get a certain amount of money, as if I were buying something. I want to practice counting out the money to make certain amounts. So you see on my board I've written out some amounts. Let's just go through and read those, okay? So that first one is, 3 cents, then 6 cents, 8 cents, 11 cents, and 15 cents. Great reading those numbers. So I put those down because I wanted to pretend that I was going to buy something that cost those amounts, and I needed to use my little pile of change to make each amount. So you think that you might not have to ever use 3 cents for something, but every now and then, if you went to a yard sale or a place where they were taking only cash, you have to count out money and you have to count out change to buy things. So I wanted to pretend today that I was trying to buy things that cost all these amounts and see if I could make the money with my coins. And I think what you're going to see is that for some of them, there's more than one right answer. So if you want to try this with me, go ahead and get a little pile of pennies and a few nickels. And if you want to practice with dimes, get a dime too, because we could use that on this page. And just have your money ready. And then when we look at each amount, see if you can make that amount. And then see if your amount, the way you made it, is the same way the way I made it. We might not agree, but we might both be right. Let's see. Okay, the first one says 3 cents. So there's only one coin I can use to make 3 cents, right? And what coin is that? Yeah, the penny. So if I wanted to make 3 cents, that's how I would make it, with 3 pennies. Good. Okay, look at the next one. 6 cents. Go ahead and take a second and make 6 cents. I'll wait. Okay, so I'm going to make 6 cents now, and I'm going to use, I used 6 pennies. But there's also another way I could make it, since I have a variety of coins over here. Can you think of another way I could make 6? Yeah, you're exactly right. I could take 5 of these pennies and trade them back over here to my pile and use a what instead? Yeah, a nickel, right? So if I were counting this, I would say 5 first, because I know my nickel is worth more, and I'm always going to start with counting the coin that is worth the most. So I would say 5 and then count on 6, right? So there are 2 different ways we could make 6 cents with these coins. Great. Okay, I'm going to put these back. Now let's look at my next one, 8 cents. Go ahead and take a second to make it. Yeah, this is going to work the same way, because you could use only pennies or you could use pennies and nickels. This time I'm going to start with a nickel. And now I'm going to add some pennies. Is that what you did? So I have a nickel, 5, and then count on 6, 7, 8. What's the other way I could have made this? Well, of course, I could have just used pennies. So I could have just counted out pennies. There they are, 8 little pennies. Good. So 2 different ways to make 8 cents. And if we were at school making amounts like this, I would go around the room and say, how did you make it? How did you make it? And you would tell me what you had used to make these amounts. Good. All right. I'm going to put those back, and let's look at our next price, our next amount. It's 11 cents. Oh my gosh, there's lots and lots of different ways we could make this. Okay, I'm going to give you a challenge. How could you make this if you used a dime? I'm going to silently do it, and you see if you can do it at your house. Of course, I could just take a dime and a penny. Look, a 10 and a 1. Since you know a little bit about place value, you know that there's 1 10 and 1 1, and there you have it, 1 10 and 1 1. Excellent. All right, what's another way we could make 11 cents? What about if I wanted to use nickels? Let's try. Okay, what do I have there? 5, 10, good. And now just add a penny, and I've got 11. Okay, there's even another way to do it. What if I only used 1 nickel? All right, let's start with 5, and now let's count on and make 11. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Beautiful. So I have a nickel and 6 pennies, and they are worth 11 cents. My golly, there's so many different options here, right? And then, of course, there's another way I could always use to make 11 cents. What could I do? Of course, I could count out 11 pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're my 11 pennies. You notice how I laid those out to look like a 10 frame? Very sneaky of me, right? A 10 frame and then one more, so 11. All right. All right, our last one is the biggest number that we're going to try, and it is 15 cents. So think for a second of ways you could make 15 cents. All right, well, I know that I've got a dime over here in my pile. So what if I started with a dime? There's 10 cents. Ooh, there's my 110. So now I need to make 5 more cents to make 15, right? So I've got 2 ways to do it. I can do a nickel. So there's 10, 15. What else could I do? Yeah, I could do a dime and 5 pennies. Maybe that's what you did at your house. There's a dime and 5. Ooh, that penny was sitting on top of the other penny. A dime and 5 pennies. Good. Any other ideas? If you've got a pile of nickels in front of you, try counting by 5s and make 15 and tell me what you get. How many nickels does it take to make 15? Did you get 3 nickels? 5, 10, 15. Ooh, skip counting by 5s helped me with nickels. Good. And there are a lot more different ways we could do it. I could do 2 nickels. That equals how much? Yep, 10 cents. And then I could count on with pennies. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 15. Sure. What if I only had 1 nickel? Mrs. Bennett, why in the world would you ever do? Well, sometimes you don't have all the change you need, but it's okay. You can still do it because you would just start with 5 and then count on. Let's try it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we have it again. Looks like a 10 frame. So I've got 10. I can see that's a 10 frame, so I can just say 10. I don't even have to count them. 10 and 5 more makes 15. There's my 110, and there's 5 more that make 15. Good. And of course, I could always do 15 pennies. You can always resort to pennies. That means even if you had something that cost 79 cents, you could use 79 pennies. And that's worth the exact right amount. So here we go. I'm going to add 5 more pennies. So I've got my 10 frame and 5 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good. 10 and 5. I can also look at this as 3 groups of 5, can't I? 5, 10, 15. Ooh, that's a little multiplication for when you're in 3rd grade and 2nd grade. Good job, everybody. Okay, so that's a little more practice with money. Now you try. Get somebody to give you a piece of paper or just call an amount out to you, and you try to make it with your pile of coins. Remember, when you're going to count out coins, it's easiest to keep your coins organized by what kind they are. So get them kind of organized. See, I had my nickels together and my dime. I only had 1 dime today, and a bunch of pennies. So I had them kind of organized. It made it easier for me to count, so I didn't have to pick through the coins. So get somebody to write some amounts down for you, or just say them out to you, and you see if you can make the right amount of coins to make the value that the person said. Okay, good luck practicing.